And for any type 1 diabetic out there wondering, if I'm having just meat or primarily just meat in my plate for the whole day, then my daily intake of insulin, that's just the bolus and basal altogether, the total insulin is around 25 units, 28 units. So I know that I have nothing to worry about, but we're afraid of insulin. We worry about insulin resistance. But I think it should be, you're right, it should be taken in context. You have to look at someone's the other health markers as well. One good thing about eating meat-based diets is that the blood sugar variability is marginal. So my blood sugar just stays maybe on the higher range. Maybe I should need more insulin on the higher range of my normal, and my normal just stops at 6. I don't want to go above 6, but it just stays at 6 and it just goes at that level pretty much the whole day. So there is no variability. I'm enjoying it. I'm really loving it. And I'm also enjoying the fact that after introducing meat, I had 2 frozen shoulders, probably glycation. Type 1s are prone to that after eating carbohydrates pretty much my entire adult life. And I was told I should be very careful with exercise. And that was the first time in my life, very close to the age of 50, I actually hit the gym. And no steroid injections, no medication, and I healed my frozen shoulders on both arms. Now I'm lifting weights. I started lifting weights. I introduced meat. I started lifting weights. Now I'm lifting weights very close to twice my weight. My husband was a former athlete, so he just tells me your transformation is beyond remarkable. Yeah, if I'm able to do all this with 5 more units of insulin, then perhaps I shouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I think, if you look at the trade-offs, Sarah, and good on you for doing the lifting, because I think it's so important for really anybody, to include, and especially females that tend to have always traditionally sort of, I don't want to lift weights because I'm afraid I'm going to get too bulky or too strong. And it's really, really, really difficult to do. And the other caveat of that is if you're taking in more protein, and you correctly point out the fact that you do need to dose for protein. A lot of people say it's about a half or what you might have for carbohydrates, but it varies. And as you know, your sensitivity throughout the day, having been there 44 years in this, you probably know that maybe later in the day, you may be more insulin sensitive, or maybe, it depends. And then of course, exercise has a role here. And so we know that, if your blood sugar is high, you can always go for a little walk, and some gentle exercise usually brings it down pretty consistently. Whereas intense exercise can maybe temporarily raise it up. And so I think you have to figure out how that plays, and you might have to dose insulin for that in some cases, and so it's one of those things where, if you can use insulin as, I wouldn't treat it always as a bad thing. You use it as, not only to correct blood sugar, but also to build muscle. This is what it does. I mean, it's, but you don't want to get to the point where you're storing excess body fat. So this is where you have to be very smart, I think, as a type 1 diabetic, and you have to really learn and understand the nuance of the physiology, and see how exercise and sleep and what type of exercise and the timing of exercise. And you're correct, how much you're eating and what the size of the meals are. We know that, for instance, there's studies out there looking at protein consumption, and it takes about 75 grams of protein by itself to cause a blood glucose increase for a normal person. Now, a diabetic might have a different response to that, but when you're eating it with fat, there's going to be a delay in the blood glucose rise, and so you might have to dose your mealtime dose. Maybe have to be broken into 2, an early and a late dose to sort of cover that rise. So it's interesting stuff, interesting physiology for sure.
Yes, I have a pump, and I can relate to that. So if I have cheese with my steak, for example, then I can have that delayed effect, even sometimes up to 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
8 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
But I do have a pump, and so it's relatively easy to sort of manage the ups and downs.